GHDs, and they're on throughout the rest of the workout.
This is like the world's most fit game of whack-a-mole.
Bobbling. Again, we're watching body language here for these double unders, folks. They've got to spin the rope twice and has to pass it under their feet 2 times for a rep to count. They want to jump as little as possible and just allow their body to stay relaxed as they spin and rotate the rope fast. Keep the elbows in towards the sides and allow the wrist flick to be what's the fastest motion throughout the repetition.
Let's apply this to folks at home here. We work through these 200 double unders. A lot of times you'll see people with that dolphin kick where it almost looks like your hips fly back and your legs kick out in front of you. You just want to step up high enough on this battle so that the rope can spin twice. You don't need to do any extra leg lifting, right?
The less work, the better they're on these double unders.
Adrian, question for you. If you were on the competition floor during this event, would you want your judge letting you know out loud every 10 repetitions, 25, or just when you've completed each set of 100?
I'd really love to hear a count about every 50, and that's a conversation these athletes have an opportunity to have with their judge even as they take the floor. We talked about this earlier in the weekend. It's important to converse in the moments before a workout with your judge, whether it's checking in on a particular movement, making sure the standards are clear between you and them. But even in that opportunity, you can say, hey, judge, just give me a clear hand wave every 50, would you? I'd really appreciate it so I know where I'm at by your count and my count. Tightly, no hesitation. Right up onto his hands, and he's working and moving.
Lee comes in 30 points, back of last chance online qualifier position in 12th place overall. 30 points more than make up for. Speaking of making up ground, Callista Lang actually jumped Tori Dyson. She made up the most ground for the women this morning. She is 33 points back, Carolyn Primo. But look at the top. Emma Lawson, Paige Powers, 4-point difference. That is the difference between a first and a second place finish, which is what we just saw. So Paige Powers wins event 6 at all over Emma Lawson. She wins the Atlas Games. That would put them tied for points. The tiebreaker is your best event finish. In that scenario, Powers would have 3 firsts to Lawson's 2 firsts. Beyond that, Matt gets more.
Yeah, we've got great storylines all around. We still have someone within striking distance qualified for the CrossFit Games. We need to still continue to eye out spots 6 to 8 because they're fighting for another chance to qualify in the last chance qualifier. And of course, we've got this head-to-head action at the top, which you'd love to see from these 2 young ladies.
Roseman is your leader here in the heat, being chased down by Roy the Bear and by Pistol Pete Mason.
And the men are throwing higher than the ladies, so they've got to throw at or above the line, which is a 10-foot standard. And in most cases, the judges, of course, are looking for a squat, hip crease below the top of the knee, but they need the vast majority of the ball to pass over the top of the line. So if you see the ball touching the line, that's not a no rep. As long as you split the ball in half, it's above the line.
Although with the Greta game, it was just touching.
Right. In any way. And that's really where it's dependent upon the particular standards that are set in the athlete briefing directly communicated to the athletes. And it's always different from competition to competition. They have the opportunity to dictate that.
If you're wondering, well, why don't we just have one target then? The lower target is where the women were throwing to. The upper target is where the men were throwing to.
And again, we're starting to see some different styles. Some leading the arms straight over the head and letting them hang. Some dropping the arms straight down, and some using the helicopter method out to the side, almost like a thigh slap before they receive the ball. I saw this from Phil Toon at the Granite Games last week. First time I'd seen the thigh slap between the repetitions. Which is like, hey, quad, stay in the fight.
Adrian, speaking of different styles on the wall, I've noticed this through this heat right now and also the women's heats. We're seeing some of the wall balls as they approach the wall have no spin on them whatsoever, no rotation, almost like a knuckleball. Other athletes are throwing the ball up and we're seeing quite a bit of rotation. It seems like that is slowing things down a little bit. Why would that be?
Yeah, you don't want the ball coming off the wall or out of your hands with rotation. The more that ball is shifting or moving in space, you've got to squeeze it and stop it in order to redirect it to go back up towards that target. And then often that's where your accuracy becomes a bit of an issue and there's volatility there behind every rep. And you can't do that on wall balls. Each one of these repetitions is much more costly than it may seem if you get a no rep. And it's really important to aim small when you're doing this. That means you want a dead ball in the air, and you want to aim at a very small, specific thing there on that target so that you can be accurate through all these 100 wall balls. What was the velocity there that you shared with us yesterday? Was it 18 miles per hour?
So if you let the ball hit the ground, like we just saw,
Yeah.
from the wall ball target, now that was a 30-pound wall ball, but
Okay.
it's minimal difference here at this point. From the target to the ground, that ball is falling at 17 miles an hour by the time it hits the ground.
That's fast. And you're redirecting it all with your hips and legs every repetition. While we're not going it all the way to the ground, it's close. The point is, you're redirecting that ball, traveling at approximately or more 15 miles an hour every repetition for 100 reps. That changes the way 20 pounds feels in your hands.
It's also where sometimes it pays to be a little bit of a taller athlete when it comes to the wall ball. You're catching it higher in that descent. Obviously, a free fall, you're picking up speed as the ball is falling, so you catch it at its slowest point. You can get all into all sorts of physics in that when it comes to kinesiology and the way the body works and exercise.
It's so true. And some of us really enjoy that aspect. And as these performing athletes, I think it's important for them to be aware of as well. They might not need to know all the details, but to understand is extremely important. That's where, hey, having some of this coaching expertise and having a level 1 even when you're out there on the floor can be a huge advantage.
All right, so 100 wall balls are done for Roy Lemaire. He's on to his second 100-foot handstand walk, and then he'll make his way to the GHD, the Glute Hand Developer. 50 feet unbroken before hitting the turn.
Yeah, these guys are going big chunks. We're not seeing any of them go quite as fast as we watched Paige Powers walk, but they're walking very smoothly. Good aggressive arch for most of these guys with the broken there at the knee to let those heels lead their center of gravity to pull them forward.
You know, we're talking about how difficult some of this work is. We've talked about, hey, doing a handstand walk after you just worked your shoulders on double unders. Doing a handstand walk after you just worked your shoulders on those wall balls. How do you build up that shoulder strength so that you can go out there and compete at this level?
Oh, that's a great question. And that is one of my favorite things to do is build specific aspects of fitness or capacity. I really like to expose athletes to what we could call movement redundancy. This trains local muscle endurance in a tremendous way. And that includes combining movements that are like a press or a push press or a wall ball where you're pressing something away from your body and then immediately making them or commanding them into a handstand hold or a handstand push-up or a handstand walk. Now, you'll notice the power output or the speed at which you can complete those movements might not be as fast if you couple them with a complementary movement, but this builds tremendous amounts of fitness and prepares you for workouts just like this.
We just saw Benoit Boulanger on the GHD. You can see almost how easy the movement was for him because of how long he was. Again, talk about length of levers. A little bit more short stature in lane 4 for Drake Lewis. He can attack the handstand walk differently.
Yeah, we see levers come into play, and I think that's one of the things that we noticed even as the women finished with the handstand walking. Paige has longer arms, longer reach. She can cover more ground per stride, and it's an advantage. And what's important is less about where you fall. Shorter athletes need to understand I'm a shorter athlete and lean into where you can take advantage of that. Taller athletes need to do the same thing. And much of your training needs to be mirrored around that. If you hope to compete at a high level, it's important to know that.
Again, look at the way that Boulanger, and part of that is where his hips are positioned on the pad.
Totally.
We are on the 100 GHDs here. Another 100-foot handstand walk will follow this. 300 total feet of handstand walking. And then back to 200 double unders, 24 more pursuits, 25 more cows on the bike. Your favorite part.
And this is really, we're entering the phase of this workout now where everyone is at what we categorize as the separating point. These GHDs, are you going to pause? How many times are you going to pause? And I will say, it's bad news for